No. Can I turn to you? I'm hearing that there's a number of letters now being fired out from ambulance chasing solicitors on their next hunt for another PPI kind of follow on. This time it's about the commission paid on finance sales. Is that correct? Are you hearing that?
Yeah, that is that we are starting to see a steady trickle now of letters from, and it's not just one company, there's a few companies that have set themselves up now targeting people that have been sold car finance. We thought it was going to be about the PCP and the kind of mileage arguments, but on the back of the FCA review, sort of back end of last year and some of the stuff that they published this year in 2020, there is a real emphasis now on commission, and this is where the ambulance chasers are looking to now. So dealers need to make sure, along with all the other paperwork they're doing, that they've got all the commission stuff right as well. I think it's quite clear in the FCA handbook. I mean, they're not easy to look through. The comp guidance is that they're not very user friendly, but it is in there. And it's all about making it clear that the customer could be paying a commission. And if they ask about how much, you kind of have to tell them how much as well. And it's
so what are they trying to claim, Nola? I mean, most dealers, or if not all dealers, get paid a commission for the finance they sell. I mean, how could dealers have fallen foul of that for these solicitors to start chasing?
What they're looking for is in the paperwork. Have you actually put it in the written paperwork that there is a commission element as part of that finance? Although it's obvious to everybody, unless it's in the paperwork, that gives the ambulance chasers a chance to have a look at that. And what they're also questioning is this around the DIC commission. Well, why did you give your customer that deal? I've got one now where the customer was refused, I think Santander and Motor Novo, and he's gone somewhere else, subprime. And they're like, oh, well, you must have got a high commission. That's why you chose to give the customer that deal. And it's, well, no, it was because they got refused for the other two and they wanted the car. So it's those sort of things they're looking in at, and the whole commission models as well, because they want to know, did you tell that customer to get that deal because it was better for you as a dealer? And that's kind of what they're digging into now.
It's all about alleged mis-selling. It's all about alleged mis-selling, isn't it?
And who's going to be liable for those payments? I mean, is it dealers who are going to have to pay compensation here, or the finance companies? Where is the liability?
This is coming down to dealers, because it's dealers that have the obligation to make the commission rules and all that clear. So yeah, it will come back to them. So yeah, they're all after compensation from there. And one of them that I'm dealing with, the car was only sold in January. So that's how quickly these now. We're used to PPI, that we had PPI cases from 22 years ago we were dealing with. Was that, but one turned up today. But these are all quite new deals, so there's nothing historical about this. It's going on right now. So.
And Nola, do you think that any dealers have fallen foul of this? I mean, have you seen anybody that not naming names, but who have in line to pay out to customers?
We haven't seen any results on them yet. I mean, we're defending all the ones we've got, but I would say that some of the paperwork isn't as clear as some of the other paperwork. And I think a lot of things that end up with the Financial Ombudsman Service, which will be where these end up if we defend them successfully at that stage. The Financial Ombudsman tend to be a little bit soft towards consumers. So dealers have really got to look at it and talk to. I mean, we're good at picking holes in things, but we're not FCA handbook experts from there. So they really should be talking to their compliance companies to make sure they've got it right. But once it's gone wrong or there's a complaint, we can certainly look at that and pull that apart. But yeah, some paperwork is better than others. I spoke to a dealer this week and he said, well, our compliance company have said it's fine. And I said, I think you need to go back to them, because I don't think that's fine. I don't think that will meet the limit or the expectation that the FCA or the FOS are looking at in this particular area. It's a big issue, I think, commission now.
Jason, what do you think these dealers could be liable for in terms of payouts?
Well, this is the point, we don't know, because they're presumably going to have to compensate the consumer somehow, but how is that gauged? I mean, Nona mentioned that she's had one the other day where the car was only on hire purchase in January. I've had one yesterday where the car was only financed in February. And in fact, I have to say that in responding to the solicitor's letter, which I won't go into detail, I am going to report them and their unethical behaviour to the Solicitors Regulation Authority, because actually it is appalling what they've done. And I can't go into the detail right now. I'm going to put that complaint over to the SRA against this firm of solicitors, who I think have gone about this in the most appalling way possible.
How big do you think this problem could become, Jason?
I think it'll be huge. I think it'll be huge. I think it'll be as big as any PPI. It's very easy to say someone, oh well, I wasn't told the commission for this, that, and the other. I was missold. I can see it being very easy for the ambulance chasers to try to latch on to, and I can see it mushrooming into something quite substantial. But as Nona says, we will look to defend as many of these cases as we possibly can, right from the very outset.
And where does the burden of proof lie that this commission wasn't disclosed? Is it in the customer? Does he have to have a copy of the paper, or is it going to be down to the dealer saying this is what I got that customer to sign?
Well, this can be tricky, because if it's what's called a negligent misrepresentation, in other words, a misrepresentation which is allegedly said by the trader, which turns out to be false, the burden of proof is on the trader in that circumstance to prove that he was not negligent. But of course, if it has to be in the paperwork, it's also very difficult to prove a negative. But of course, if the consumer can provide evidence to show that they were not giving any of the relevant information, then it is possible, and I stress possible, that there might be a case for our clients to have to answer for. But as I say, we will look through everything in minute detail, and we will defend our clients against this type of activity.